somewhere around 2016-17, it was felt that we need another plant. In fact, India does need another plant 3-4 years down the line if you take the current GDP growth or the growth of copper per se. And so that was announced, and we got all approvals to set up another plant of a similar size, which means our plant of 400 KT or roughly 450 would have gone to almost a million, 900, 950 to about a million with some debottlenecking. So a 1 million ton single place copper plant would have basically a big thing to happen anywhere in the world. And it also would mean that we would dictate the terms at which the concentrate is bought across the world. We would have set the benchmark, which today Chinese companies are doing, Chinese smelters are doing today, along with the sellers of concentrate primarily from Chile. So anyway, we had it all approvals and everything, and we went ahead constructing the new plant. At that time, there was a protest in the local villages because of certain issues in terms of their employment or some water and all those things, and that small spark led to a big, people jumped in from various quarters. We believe there are foreign players in this whole thing to make sure that we don't become self-sufficient in key resources in the country. And there were Chinese, there were people from UK, etc., who jumped into the fray, pumped in money. There were a lot of NGOs in the fray, and that became a very big protest sometime in 2018. And on the 100th day of protest, they became violent by elements who are not from Tuticorin. They were kind of came from outside, and we have proof of that. And they created ruckus in our collectorate and our colony, which was nearby, as a result of which police fired and some 30 people lost their lives, unfortunately. And since then became a political kind of a situation, less pollution, more political. And since then, of course, we are shut down. Although NGT gave us a favorable order, but Supreme Court set it aside that you cannot turn down a government order of the state government. And so we were asked to go back to High Court. We went to High Court. They did not accept our plea, and so we went back to Supreme Court, and that's where we are. While the country and the place continue to suffer for loss of employment and the metal not being there, the matter is still in court. Now, briefly, people do think that it's a pollution issue, but I just want to clarify there's no pollution issue, because for the last 25 years, in fact, there was an earlier case from Supreme Court in which a very high-level delegation had come to Tuticorin in the year 2013, and they had cleared all doubts about the plant running in terms of air, water, and solid waste handling of our plant. All doubts were cleared. It was answered. It is there in the public domain, wherein it was said that the plant follows all norms as per given by the CPCB and TNPCB. Even in the recent order, if you see, of High Court, except the slag, there's nothing else mentioned against us. And slag, the High Court says they believe it is hazardous, although there's nothing to prove that, and I don't think they are the right people to judge it's hazardous or not, because there's a lot of literature and a lot of not literature. There's a lot of research done by CPCB also, which is submitted in court, that it is non-hazardous, and they are the ones who told us to sell it in a profitable manner. More so in the smelters across the world who use similar technology, they also use their slag for purposes that we also use, like building, say, embankments at the river banks, or used in road making, paver blocks, etc., etc. So in the most developed countries, that's how slag is used. That's how we also used. That's the only thing which came up in the High Court against us. Apart from that, there's nothing in the recent High Court order. It's a knee-jerk reaction. See, the police the government at that point in time. If you remember, I'll take you back 3 years in Tamil Nadu, where Jayalalitha has just died, and the new incumbent CM was not very powerful at that point in time. Karunanidhi also was not there. So politically, this was a little weak, I would say. Although today the things are different, but that time was very weak. So he had to put the blame on somebody for the firing, which lost and became an emotional issue and all those things. So immediately we were pounced upon that you are the ones who, because of which the protest happened, and so we were shut down as a result of. So the shutdown order actually came 2 days after the firing to seal the plant and all. So it was a knee-jerk reaction. You're right. Huge. If I were to tell you, give you some numbers, we were spending about 600 crores in the local economy here. When I say 600 crores, I mean when you were operating, this is money you spend in buying raw materials, payment to local contractors, the logistics people, the truck drivers, etc. So 600 crores being pumped into the local economy, which today is zero. There are almost a lakh of people, 4,000 directly, but almost a lakh of people have been affected because of our closure. Logistics, downstream industries, they are closed down, they are reduced their production. So all these things put together, a lakh of people have been affected. What's more, the sentiment of industries coming into in Tamil Nadu has gone down. Have you heard of any new industry coming in Tamil Nadu? People are very skeptical now of putting up any industry in Tamil Nadu. The government may announce MOUs, etc., etc. In fact, recently they have announced a lot of MOUs, but in actual, no industry has come into Dubai because they are skeptical about how NGOs are behaving, how the government is handling them. Citing our example. No, it's from Southeast Asia countries because there's an FTA with Japan, some of the Southeast Asian countries, but primarily from China. See, South Asian countries are giving the finished product, but they are sourcing the copper from China. So China does stand to benefit if we are shut down. More so, the larger game plan you need to understand. The world is moving towards the EVs in future, electric vehicles. And two things are very important in EVs. One is copper, the other is lithium for the batteries. And so, if you see in Vedanta, our plant as well as KCM has both been affected by protests. And so India is made to deficient in a very key metal, which is going to be proved very important in the future. These are larger game plan where China is playing a big hand, and through some NGOs, through some UK-based organizations, which are there in the public domain, which you know all that, we can share that with you. Through them, they're operating and making sure that India doesn't become self-sufficient or also excess in copper, which is going to be very key in future. So ours is a very voluminous case because there are about a huge document associated with the case as such, because it was made out to be only of, if you just go back a little bit, the closure order was only on 5 counts. And those 5 counts are very frivolous. Something like, you've not submitted the water report, or you don't have the hazardous waste authorization. Things like that, which are very frivolous, which can be sorted out immediately. But what happened in the High Court was 11 parties were included as impleaders. And so what was a case of only 5 issues became, I think, about 183 issues. They included all these points into the case. So it became like a PLA, a public litigation case. And so it became very voluminous. So currently, when Supreme Court is not on physical hearing, they are on virtual, handling such a big case with so much of documents and data probably made the bench say that we'll hear it after the physical hearing starts, which we are expecting sometime in March. So subsequently, we expect to be heard.